Hello, Cherries, and welcome to Live Cherry Sunday, episode 224. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how to identify the 7 diatonic chords within the major key. And this is a really cool lesson here. First, I want to say hello to Jeffrey Boyle, my friend here in the chat. How you doing, Jeffrey? What you drinking out there? Some coffee? Hopefully some tasty coffee. Or I know it's beer o'clock somewhere. But this video kind of comes after one of my last videos. I had a lot of questions on it. And people were asking about the number system and what does it mean. And I've been playing for 40 years. People are saying I never even heard of it. I never played it, and which doesn't really make much sense to me, because if you've been playing that long, you've heard of progressions like 1-4-5 progressions and 2-5-1 progressions and 1-6-2-5. There's a lot of combinations of them. I just named some of the more popular ones. So recently I had a video of YouTube Shorts go viral. It reached over 1 million views so far, and I posted it about 2 weeks ago, about 2 Saturdays ago, and it was how to identify chord progressions by ear. And for some crazy reason, it was a short clip, a minute clip that I put together of a live stream that we did 2 weeks ago about the same subject. So I basically made a YouTube short based on that live stream that we were all at and posted that, and oddly enough, it went viral, and it's like 1 million plus views on it, and I got hundreds of comments, and it's really been positive. But the most popular comment that I got was basically what we're going to do here today, and trying to understand what the next step is. Because in that video, I essentially put on a chord progression, listened to it, figured out how to play it based on just going up the E string chromatically, the chromatic scale. But then once I figured out the chords of the progression, I analyzed the progression and I put them into the number system, whether it was a 2-5-1 or a 1-4-5, and I think that confused a few people. So I think we're going to talk about it a little bit today. So let me say hello here real quick to Dana Lightnin. I always mess up your last name. I'm sorry. Leitnin. And Scott Olson. Give you all a round of applause. Scott's in the delightful River Valley in Illinois. Wow, that's cool. It's like River Valley. Never heard of that, but that sounds cool. Viral, yeah. I know, it's so crazy. 1 million plus views. It was so weird watching that grow and blow up. I'd never had anything like that. I'm so grateful for that, I suppose, and having the views like that. But it's like just, the most popular video I have was like 60,000 views on a looper video that I made. And my as far as shorts go, I think it was like maybe 40,000 views on a Guns N' Roses solo that I did. But to have something go over 1 million, it was just weird, and it was a lot of fun watching it grow. But that's okay. I gained a bunch of new subscribers from that too, which was really fun. So this is really the next level in understanding chord progressions, learning how to build chord progressions, and all that groovy stuff. So we're going to start off in the key of C today. Hopefully you can hear my telly, my smelly telly. You have to excuse me, I had a little bit of a head cold. I've always been a head case, but now I have a head cold. Now I'm a head cold, not just a head case. But we're going to work a little bit in C, then we're going to switch the keys to show you that you could do this in any key. It really doesn't matter. And this is really the most important thing I feel in music to know. Good morning, Finny. From Phoenix, Arizona. I'm actually going to Arizona next week. I have to look it up and tell you where. So you got the C major scale. Check it out. I'll put it on this camera so you can see this right here. my Pink Floyd shirt. C major on the A string, C. Once again. So that's the C major scale right there. And what I have right here too is a little graph that I like to use a lot. You've probably seen this. And if you want any of these graphs, let me know. You can email me at info@Cherry. Any graphs or any backing tracks that I might use today, I don't know yet. And I will email them to you. And, before we do this, I want to ask you something real quick. I just want to ask you a question. You can answer it either now or later or whenever you have it. But how do you figure out the chords that you're in when you're in a key? Say you're in any particular key or soloing or whatever. How do you come to the conclusion of what key you're in based on the chords that you're playing? I would love to know that, because basically that's what we're doing here today. But in my way, and this is the tried and true, and it is what it is. I didn't make up this stuff. But a lot of people think about this stuff differently, and I'm very curious to know what you think about it. So this C major scale that I just played is right here what we're looking at as well. It's also the number system. It's also the Nashville system, whatever you want to call it. But each note of the scale represents a number right there too, which is cool. Because music is like math and science and heart and soul and creativity. But it really is, it's just a number, a bunch of numbers rotating around, kind of like the earth, you know? Okay, so I'm not a rocket scientist. I just pretend to be one on YouTube. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Again. So there's only 7 notes in the scale, and then it, like I was saying, it revolves around and around and around and around. Again, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. That's the notes of the C major scale. And it's also the numbers. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those are the notes of the C major scale. And as you can see, there are certain distances here between the notes. You've probably heard of a formula maybe in middle school or high school, if you took any theory classes. The whole, half, whole, half. And all that means is whole step, which is 2 frets, like this, like 1, 2, 1, 2, or a half, which is just 1 fret. So that's a half step. So from C to C sharp is a half step, but from C up 2, that's a whole step. So the formula of the major scale is whole, half, whole, half, which is like this. Whole, half, whole, half. Whole, half, whole, half. So it's real simple. So it's not just a chromatic like that. The scale, the major scale, and that works for any key. If I went to F, it'd be the same formula. Whole, half, whole, half, or G or A, whatever. I didn't just make this stuff up, the C note, the C major scale. The reason why it sounds like that, and it's a solfege. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Pardon my voice, I have a head cold. Not just a head case, head cold too. And, right. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. That's the sound. The do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, the major scale. And that's the reason why it sounds like that is because of this formula. Whole, half, or like this. Whole, half, whole, half. And those combinations of notes next to each other make that sound. Oops. On just one string. Of course, you could play it horizontally as well, like vertically, horizontally through the different strings. And that's the point of playing it that way, is that you don't have to move all the way up. But it's cool to Play any scale vertically and horizontally. Same notes. Really shows you the intervals as you're crossing strings too. Because you still have whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. You're just doing them going vertically. Whole, whole, half. See that? See, from here to here is a whole. Here to there is a whole. Here to here is a half. Here to here is a whole. Whole, whole, half. Play that anywhere, starting on the E string, etc. Okay. So if you're enjoying this video so far, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. We're really getting into some good stuff here. And it might seem really, really simple to you, and it is really simple, but to a lot of people, they don't really understand this basic music theory stuff. And I think it's important to kind of break it down. Get right back to it in a minute. I just want to say hello here to some of you guys. You know, Christopher Eaton, so good to see you. You know, I have an email from Christopher Eaton sitting in my inbox, and I only have like, I try to keep it real small, my inbox, like 5 important emails, like certain bills or whatever, or certain emails I have to get back to. But I have Christopher Eaton, your email is still sitting there. It's the last one of like 5, and it's an email from almost a year ago to the day. Why? Because I see it every day, and it's April 24th or something, of you asking me for the backing track for an E minor vamp that we did a year ago, and it was a looper, so I didn't have the actual backing track, but I made the mistake of saying, if you want this backing track, let me know, but I didn't actually have a backing track. So it was a great idea for me to make a backing track in E, and I haven't gotten to it yet, but I want to, and I don't want to let you down. So if you ask me for a backing track and it takes me a year to get it to you, don't worry. You're going to get it. I might just wait till the year to the day and actually send it to you. But usually it's that day if I have them. But for some reason, I haven't been able to make that stupid E minor backing track for you, Chris. But don't worry. It's coming. I think about you every day. So there you have it. I just think that's funny. And I like the face blue smiling. I don't know what that means. You're going to have to tell me, or maybe you don't tell me. Maybe I don't need to know. Maybe I'm on a need-to-know basis, and I don't need to know. I'm going to pull out all the old jokes. Some dad jokes, maybe, too. I do like dad jokes. So, all right, we're having some fun here. It's Sunday. We're a little loose, but we're having some fun. Let's go back to here again and keep running through here what I'm talking about. Okay. So, each one of those notes, more than just a note of the scale, but check this out. Each one of those notes is a chord as well. That's like mine, like blown, right? Each one of those notes is a chord. Instead of just going, here's, I know the C major scale. Like say, you know this chord. A C chord. And my telly is playing so good today. I set it up myself the other day. Just raised the action, like it was buzzing everywhere. And I have my Nano Boost pedal on, which is, here's without it. It's a very light pickup, so I just get to put it on. Right? A little better without it, right? I mean, better with it. Just give it maybe a little bit more pop, a little more boost in it. It's just louder. What band is that on my t-shirt? That is The Who. No, it's not The Who. It's Pink Floyd. What am I talking about? It's Pink Floyd. Old Pink Floyd. The original, when they just got, David Gilmour in the band. So, yeah. It's got Syd Barrett in there with David Gilmour, Roger Waters. So see him up there? I think that's David Gilmour, Roger Waters. I think that's Syd Barrett, one of those two guys. They looked a lot alike, the keyboard player and I think that's Syd Barrett up there. I think the two guitar players right next to each other. Syd Barrett. I think Syd Barrett was losing his mind at this point. That's awesome. I think every guitar player is going to lose their mind eventually. Because look at what we think about this stuff. So back to this C major scale. Not to be confused with the major scale with the private scale or the general scale. It's the major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Now, okay, we're back to here, Syd. Trevor Boyle. And each one of these notes is a chord. So check it out. When I played the C major scale, you also have a C chord, a D minor chord, an E minor chord, an F chord, a G chord, an A chord, a B half diminished chord, and a C again. Doesn't it sound like the major scale? Oops. So we harmonize the major scale by just playing the chords. And those are the 7 chords of the diatonic key of C. And it's the root notes are, but I built a chord on each root note. These two last ones are really high on the fretboard for my big fingers, but they sound like this. Up here. 7 notes, 7 chords. And I'm playing the simplest possible chords you could play too. These are just bar chords. It's really great to know these chords like this. Here's a C. Some people call this the A shape, and I teach this a lot in the C.A.G.E.D system. It's an A shape. Why? Because look, here's an A chord. Like you've played this A right here. Right? You've played this A chord before a million times. But we're going to move that up to here and play it like that. Just like that. Oops. Strings go a little out of tune when it gets hot. Just got to give it a little tug on a B string right there. No. Yeah. Then here. Nope. A little sharp in there. Bear with me. There we go. Little anal on my tuning there. Okay. So, these are just like the A shape. C. A shape. Now, all these chords are essentially the A shape. Like, I'll go to this next one, the D. It's like a D minor. It's like an A minor shape. A minor right here. You know that chord, A minor. But if you move it all the way up to here. So I'm only using these 2 shapes. So here's major, and here's a minor shape. Minor shape, major shape, major shape, minor shape again. Forget about this one. This one's a minor, but it's a flat 5 there. So as you can see, this first note's always the root. The second note on the D string is always the 5th. So these are power chords, like this. Like you've played power chords before. You know. You know, power chord like that. So it makes it a 5, a power chord like that. But as you get up to that weird chord, that B, you're going to drop it down a half step because it's just the way the scale works. It's a flat 5 chord or half diminished. Back to the C again. So you have your flat 5. Back to the regular one. That's what's beautiful about these chord shapes, is that you could really see the intervals within the shape. It's always going to be a root. It's always going to be a fifth, and then octave right there. These are octaves. Perfectly symmetrical. So you have the fifth going up. And then this note up here, and the way the guitar is laid out, is that that's always going to be the third. And this chord's major. So I have a third. So if you could hear it like this, you would sound like this. Sounds pretty, right? It's just diatonic, or pukatonic, as Teddy Kumpo would say, one of the greatest guitar players on the planet. Pukatonic, because everything is just the same notes. Whereas like a lot of really great guitar players and jazz guitar players or anyone, they like to change it up. They don't like to play these 7 notes. You'll never see him playing this. That's why he calls it pukatonic. But you got to know what it is before you do. Blackbird. And yeah, kind of, sort of, you know. That's not as pukatonic as this, but same idea, generally. Okay, so, very cool. If you're enjoying this so far, hit that like button. Why not? If you like me. You really like me. That's Madonna, by the way. Okay. So, that's what we have. We have 7 chords based on this major scale, and that's how we did it. Just like that. And why is that important? Because with this, you could come up with your chord progressions. You know, all of your chord progressions come from that formula right there. Take a sip of my coffee here real quick. What are you drinking out there, too? I know it's beer o'clock. It's not too early for tequila shots, is it? Depending on where you are. Okay, let's go back here again to this. Now, here's where it gets really, really juicy. I did a video, like I was saying, it went over 1 million views on my YouTube short, which is totally crazy. I never thought that, I don't even know why it blew up like that. I guess people are interested in what the video was, and it was how to identify chord progressions by ear. And I started off learning it, showing it by ear, how I pick it up by ear, and then I broke it down. I analyzed it. Say it was a 1-6-2-5 progression. Okay, well, 1-6-2-5, look at the numbers right there. I mean, anyone could look at that and go, well, I know what a 1-6-2-5 is. 1 is C, 6 is A, 2 is D, and 5 is G. I mean, if you know those Roman numerals, that's the number system. Usually they put it in Roman numerals. And, before I go more into this, I saw a couple of comments here I just want to check out real quick. Scott was saying Sally Field, which was one of my favorite actresses. Smokey and the Bandit. Love her. With Burt Reynolds. You like me. You really like me. Oh, Sally Field said that. I thought it was I thought it was Madonna when she won that award. So Sally Field said it too. And Walter, how you doing? Give a round of applause. Floyd, you think? Oh, that's Floyd. It's definitely Pink Floyd. It's yeah, it's definitely Pink Floyd there. I just saw this shirt in one of the shops on Orchard Street in the East Village. I live in Brooklyn, but I'm very close to Manhattan. About 15-minute train ride right there over the bridge. And I go there all the time. Chinatown, East Village. Walk around to some cool T-shirt places. I can't remember where I got this one. It was right next to a place called The Cast, which is a cool place. But they only have like limited shirts. This place down the street has every band you can imagine. When I saw this, I was like, I gotta have it. Because it has all of the members. Syd Barrett and David Gilmour. But anyway, let's get back to this. Let's get back to this amazing scale here. Where were we? We were talking about chord progressions. We're saying how everyone knows what a 1-6-2-5 is. Why not keep it easy with only letters? Well, you could keep it easy. It's really easy to, because, if it's only letters and you wanted a chord progression that was 1-6-2-5, you would go, okay, well, it's a C. It would be a C, A, D, G. And that's great. By having the numbers, it really isn't that important, really. But it helps people when you can look at things a few different ways. Because then if you think about it in different keys, you'll start being able to tag this, meaning put a name to it. It is a 1-6-2-5 progression. And those numbers mean something as well. They mean it's the order of the notes that are in there. Sometimes, you could think of C, A, D, and G, and you wouldn't think necessarily that's what the order is. But it's good to know that those are the order of the notes because each note has a purpose in a way. Each note has a mode. Each note has its own formula. So, as we get deeper into this, we could start to realize what the number, and it's not that hard to really remember. And there's so many references to progressions because this could be in any key. As a matter of fact, we're going to do the same thing a little bit with A. So you could say, now what's in common between these two keys, a 1-6-2-5, is that they're both 1-6-2-5s. Now we don't have to refer to the letters. We do away with that it's an A, F sharp, B, E, right there. Now we know it is just 2-5 no matter what key. So if there's 12 keys, there's only one 1-6-2-5. So we don't have to remember all of the letters and everything like that. We could just say, hey, it's a 1-6-2-5 progression and know right off the bat, okay, I hear it. Plus you'll be able to hear it. If you're listening to a song and you hear a 1-6-2-5, which sounds like this, right, 1-6-2-5, very famous, very common. Okay, just like that. Very, very common progression. Real simple. You can play it all over the neck, but there's one good area to play. It's right here in cowboy chord C, C shape, A minor shape, D, G. Okay. There is that. And any more questions here? Let's see. Okay. Scott saying, Finney, it shows major minor chords too. Yep. That's a great point. It distinguishes what the chords are. Now that was the next thing we're going to get to right here. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, those lowercase, the uppercase Roman numerals are all major chords. And it's always going to be the 1, 4, and 5, as you can see. And the lowercase Roman numerals are the 2, the 3, the 6, and the 7. Those are all minor. That 7 there, the B, that's half diminished. And we talked about that a little bit. That's the flat 5. So that's what that little circle means after it. But it's still a minor chord. It's just a little bit different. It's the one oddball out of there. It's a half diminished, not a full diminished, just a half diminished. I could tell you what the difference is as well. There's no actual diminished seventh chords in there. It's just a diminished 5 in there. Otherwise, it's like a regular minor chord. It just has a flat 5. So, yeah, really, really cool. And Chris, I find the numbers helpful. You're right, it's pretty. So it's a very common progression right there too, right? The 1 6 2 5. Right there. Close enough for rock and roll. All right. So the 1 is always major. The 6, look, that A, it's minor right there. The 2, D, it's minor. And the 5, G, major. So one of the common questions that I was asked out of the 500 plus questions that I had was, how do I know which ones are minor? If I figured out, in that video, I listened to it and I realized that it was a C note. I realized it was an A note. Then I realized there was the D note. I realized there was a G note. So what does that tell me, really, in there? It tells me, well, I have these 4 notes. I have a C, I have an A, I have a D, and I have a G. I mean, the first thing would be, well, I've heard this progression before. So in my head, I hear that's a C major chord. I hear that it's an A minor. I hear it's a D minor. And I hear it's a G minor. That's because I've been playing long enough to hear that stuff. But if you haven't and you don't know, well, you could analyze it and go, well, I have these 4 notes. I have a C, I have an A minor, or I have a C, I have an A, I have a D, and a G. Well, there's no sharps or flats on that. And I could look at the C major scale right here, and I know that this is the home key, the home note, the C. Because it just kind of feels like it. It feels like the pull is resolving to this C chord. So I know it's the key of C right here. So if I look at the C major scale, I could look at that and go, you know what? The A is in there. It's a 6. And I could say, well, the B or the D is in there. It's a minor chord, the 2 chord, and 5 is a G note. So I could also tell that the C is major by that. The A is minor because it's the lowercase Roman numeral. The D is minor as well. Or if I did it on the A chord with this bar chord, that's a 1 chord, that's 6 chord, 2 chord, and the G chord. So that's in any key can do this, but we're doing it in C. A 1 6 2 5. 1 6 2 5. There's so many progressions you could do, and you could play over that as well. Like if let's see, if we did something like let's see what kind of drum loop I have right here. That's kind of cool. If I play something like a that was kind of difficult. Like maybe like that. So a little bit more in tempo there. Now check this out. Let's try it one more time, just to get one good loop right there. Over this progression. we have a C, a 1, 6, 2, 5 progression right here. I could play the C major scale. What's that one famous song that's kind of a... Oops. All right, so that's kind of the idea behind the progression. I played all C major, going off the rails a little bit, but I was playing the C major scale over that whole thing. And Scott, Cachopo, way easier to change keys too. Yeah, easier to change keys too by knowing the number system as well. Thank you very much for throwing that in there, Scott. Cachupo shows the major and minor chords. So any questions about this stuff, let me know. I'm having a good time here. Hopefully you're having a good time. We're going, very, very simple, but I really believe in simple. A lot of times I watch a lot of YouTube guitar teachers and I love them all. And there's so much good stuff. And they start talking about stuff. I think one of the things that I might be good at is that I really try to simplify stuff a little bit more. I hate to assume that everyone knows everything. Lord knows I don't know anything. But I'll see a great teacher and they'll start talking and they'll start going, but then they'll jump. And I go, wait a second, you didn't really bridge the gap on certain things right there. And I think that I see some of that, hopefully. And I could not overlook certain things that I feel that are important, like something simple like this, C major scale, and knowing those chords. I think, like I was saying, this is the most important thing in music, is these 7 diatonic chords, and hopefully you're getting a good grasp of that. Thank you, Christopher Eden. Give you a round of applause for that. Really, really cool. And who else is popping in here? Daredevil. Give a round of applause. Man, we're going through an off season. We're football fans. I don't know if anyone's football fans out there. I'm a football fan. But this is the only time of year where I actually get some stuff done, is the off season. But I chose this time, Sundays at 12, so that, by 1 o'clock, it's kickoff here, at least on the East Coast. You guys over if you're on the West Coast, well, that's got to be tough. 10 o'clock kickoffs over there. Really, really tough. Oh, Walter Hallstad. Took me a long time to figure out that diminished 7 chord. I always tried the minor. Yeah. What Walter is talking about, and it brings up a great question right there. You're saying about that diminished chord. Well, like I was saying, all these are chords, right? C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Hear that? Does that sound weird to you? Like, here's the major scale. Here it is in harmony in fifths. Oops. That sounded right because when I got to that B note, I played the flat 5 there. If I didn't, if I played just a straight perfect fifth, it would sound like this. And that's not right. Right? It's just not part of the scale. It changes keys, technically, right there. It would sound like this. It should sound like this. Why is that? Because check this out. There's an F note there. F, as you can see, is in the C major scale. F, E, D, C. A perfect fifth. And that, so what happens is, if you're looking at fifth, here's the B note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes away is the fifth. It happens to be an F. So in the key of C, B has a flat 5. Here's C, perfect fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. But if you start from the B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's flat 5. Start from the A, perfect fifth. Start from the G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, perfect fifth. Start from the F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, perfect fifth. Start from the E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, perfect fifth. Start from the D, perfect fifth. Start from the C, perfect fifth. From the B again. See, it has that sound. And all it really is too, it's an inversion of a G7. It's just an inversion. So it's a leading tone chord. Want to resolve there. If it was this chord, it'd be a totally different sound. It's a different key. That would make it a 3 chord to a 4. If I was to analyze it, a 3, like, would be in the key of G now. Because that B would be just a regular minor chord. That's a way to modulate too, you know. Instead of this chord. You know what I mean? So that's a whole nother thing. But that it's just an inversion of this G7 chord. So really, the B7, the 7 chord right there is really just harmony of the 5 chord. Which brings us up to another really, really important topic right here. And it's, how are these even built? How are these chords even built? Well, man, it's really, really, really pretty simple right here. Let's see, before we go to that. And, okay, let's go to that in order. These chords. Check this out. Let's just look at this. The C major chord is based off of 3 notes, a triad. And how do you find those 3 notes? Well, you're just going to jump thirds right there. So you take the C, skip the D, and go to E. That's the third. So if I went C, skip the D, went to E, that's a major third. Now, skip the F, which is this, and go to G. So now I have the 1, 3, and 5. And that's what makes the C major chord. Going up horizontally. But you couldn't play a chord that way, horizontally, right? On one string. So you're going to play on a different string. So instead of playing the E up here, I'm going to play the E on the next string. So now I can play both of them together. That's your C in the third. Same thing with the fifth. I can't play it all on the same string. I can't play it on this D string because I'm playing the E there. So Just hit the open G string. So now I have the C, D, E. Or like I played the bar chord here, I have the C. It's just a different combination of them. I have the C, I have the E up here. That's where the third is here. And I have the G right here. Same three notes. But I have this double, the C right there. So that's how I built the C major scale, like that. Or the C major chord. And that's how you build that C-shaped cowboy chord. The root, the third, the fifth. And here's the octave again. And you have the third again. Trying to get that in tune, right? A little flat still, it seems, right? That's too sharp. Close enough, rock and roll, right? We'll go with that for a minute. So that's how you build that C chord. Now it's the same thing to build the two chords. Say D. Say we're on the C major scale. Check this out. C, D. Let's jump to the third note. Skip the E. Go to F. So I have the D, the F. Skip the G and go to A. So I have D, F, and A. Of course, I can play it like this. But I'm not going to play it like that. I got to play it the same way I did the C. Here's the D, the next note, this F. I'm going to play it on the next string down. Here's the F here. And same thing here. A. I got to do it up here. Play the A here. So here's the D minor chord. And here's the D again right here. Makes it arpeggio. You can't really play that full chord like that. So that's how I play the D minor. That's how I built the D minor chord. Same as the A right here. You start to see this pattern. Here's the C, D minor, and they're all the same way. Here's the E minor. So instead of going up this way, I can go up this way as well. Is it diminished? Flat 5 right there. See, there's only three shapes, really two. The C major shape and the minor shape. E is minor, right? F is major. Same as the C. Look. F, G, A minor, B minor, flat 5, C again. All C's. Do you see what I mean now? How easy this is? So kooky. That's how you build the chords. You're just skipping a note. That's all it is. It's harmony. You're skipping a note. You're going in thirds. That way. And so let's see. Where do we go from here? Okay, so you're hearing these progressions, you're getting them in your head, you've heard these a million times, these progressions. We're just putting names on them. I see. Do you see? Do you get this? Hit the like button if you understand what's happening here today. If you learned anything here today, hit that like button. And if you're not sure and you didn't learn, just hit that like button as well. Because if you do hit that like button, it'll automatically sync up into your head and you'll get it right away. All right. Let's drink some coffee. Down to about right here. I put a little bit of, it's just black coffee from my pour over. I grind my own beans, my Italian espresso beans that I buy at the Puerto Rican export shop on Bleecker Street. And I use the old pour over. And I put a little dab of oat milk inside here. That's pretty good. I like it a lot. Jeffrey Boyle gives me the thumbs up on the coffee. All right. Dana, the lines and spaces on a musical staff are in thirds. Yeah, that's right. The lines and spaces. All right, the lines and the spaces. So yeah, if you were on a space, and then the next would be a line, the next space would be a third, the way it moves up. Like, because I know that the spaces for the treble clef, and I don't really read music just like that or like anyway. But I understand music theory, and I could read music, but not really fast. But I know it's FACE, right? Or every good boy does fine, right? But if you look at the spaces, FACE, if you look at the F, the space would be G. The line would be G. The next space would be A, right? So F to A, right there. Or if you look at the every good boy does fine, E, G, B, D, F. If you look at, that's the 5 notes of the staff. If you go one below, a lot of times when they go below the staff, they'll put another little line. That would be C. So it would be C. D would be the first space before the E. E, every good boy does fine. E, G, B, D, F. So it's the same thing. C, D, first space before the 5 lines of the staff. E, F, like the face that we said, F-A-C-E, F, G. So yeah. Anyway, that's kind of crazy. Sounds like like it's hard, but it's not really. Especially if you have a cold. Plenty of that. So yeah. I got a lot of questions about this. Hopefully this answers some of it. Let's try this. Let's go back to here and let's just do the same thing. Instead of doing it in, what was that? Oh, that was Chris. Take this down. Let's just try it again in A. Hey, everyone loves that key, but what's different about this A than C? Well, nothing as far as progressions go. It's just different notes. I mean, it's the A major scale. And we played the C major scale the same way. Same formula. But we're doing it in A now, right? So we'll start in A, open A string. Sounds like the next JC single, Bean Grinder. Thanks, Vinny. Okay, lower key. So I actually sound a little bit better singing it there. Because I'm a baritone singer than singing it in C. So as you can see, C is here, A is a minor third down. So even though I'm playing the same formula, the same type of scale, it's a lower key than A. Unless I played it up here, you know, then it's a higher key. But all depends on how you look at it. Right here, it's lower to A. So, you know, and it's the same thing as far as the numbers go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and back to the start again. Same number system. You know, each note has its own chord as well. It's the same exact thing. So if you want to do a progression in A, like we did before, 1, 6, 2, 5, it would be A. You know? It's darn B string. We'll get into it eventually. Little flat there. Good. So the A. What's the 6th chord? F sharp. And it's minor, because look, it's a lowercase minor. F sharp right here. Or if I wanted to keep it real on here, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and play it here. So here's the 1 chord. 6th chord. It's a little far of a jump to do, but just to keep it on the roots on the same string. Now the 2 chord would be a B. So jump down to here, B minor. E is the 5 chord. Easier down here though. Now the same thing that we did before, check this out. With this loop, we'll create one. Do the same thing in A. Play the A major scale all day on this. Or that famous song, I don't know what it's called. What is it, like this? Right? Going off the rails a little bit. Heart and soul. Okay. I should know that, but I don't. But now I do. I just played through the A major scale. That's it. It's just the same notes all over the place. A major. Just like we did in C, you know? But we did it in A. So it's the same progression that we did in C. So it's really, really cool to know this. You know, the Roman numeral system. We know, and it's the same pattern to build the chords as well. You know, we took the A, skip the B to the C, skip the D to the E. So now we know that's the A, the C sharp, and the E is the triad of the A chord. You know, if we did here, but I can't play them all on the same string, the chord, unless I was doing a tap thing like this. Which sounds pretty cool right there too. Rest in peace, Eddie Van Halen, my favorite guitar player. You play it like this, the A. Like this G shape right here, which is really tricky. Instead of playing, you know, you can't play a full chord on one string. You have to play it here. It's the same thing, the same pattern going up like we did before, like we did in C. Oops. Here we went. The same thing in A if we did it like this. It's hard. This right here. It's the same thing as an E. E7. Remember we said before that the flat, the diminished, or the 7 right here? It's the same thing as this. It's just an inversion of the A there. A major. I really didn't play that. The 7 chords of the diatonic key of A, like we did in C here, you do that the same way in A. Sounds like the major scale. A major. So if you want to play an A major, those are all the keys, those are all the chords. And you don't even have to know a lot of chord shapes, just this bar chord. So if I want to play a 1-4-5, just take the A to a D to a G, E to an A. You know? A, D, E, A. What if I had something like this? I was like, see, this is so stupid. Hold on. You know what I gotta do? Change this stupid drum beat. Hold on. Patterns. Shuffle. I'll go back to rock. Rock. Okay. Let's see what kind of rock beat this gives me here. Let's see what that sounds like. Okay. Okay. We can go. 4, 5, A. So you got a 1-4-5. And I can play the A major scale through this whole thing. You know? All C. I mean all A. madness. But really is the most important thing in music is to know this, because I think it's pretty important. Reminds me of Mild Orange, Stranger. What, that progression? We just wrote a song. All of us right here, so copyright it. Just give me a little bit of credit, that's all. Got a little distortion. Yeah, we're having some fun here, I hope. It was burning it proverbially. The proverbially, I can't even say that. Proverbially. There you go. I was burning it proverbially up. Okay, gotcha. All right. We're having a good time, so let's wrap this up pretty soon. Drop Dead Legs. Yeah, that's a good one right there. I don't know that, but it's kind of like similar to the, right? It's like, something like that, right? I haven't played that in a million years, that one. And I never really even knew it. So, yeah. I think we did the same. We went through the A chords right there and did the same thing in A as we did in D. We figured out the scale, the formula, whole. It's the same thing like we did in C before. It's a whole, half, whole, half. So you got whole, half, whole, half. Same formula. That's what makes the sound of the major scale. It's whole, half, whole, half. And that's really, really cool. So, so each of the notes makes up its own chord. We figured that out already too. The A. Did that. And we know based on the number if it's major or minor right there. So that's good to know right there as well. We figured out chord progressions within this. There's 2 5s. There's a B. A 5 would be E. And A would be 1. Right? So you've heard this progression a million times. Tune. One of these are out. That's what it is. My A's a little flat. That's what it is. My D is okay. G maybe a little flat. I think the A was a little out. There it was. So you have a 2, B minor, E, A. If you want, check this out. Actually, I brought this, and I'll play a little bit of this one. It's where is it? It's B minor, E, 7, A. If you want this backing track or any of these charts, let me know. I'll email them to you. Email me at info@cherry. But it's the same thing right here. A, B, E, A. So it's a 2 chord, B minor, E, 5 chord. I just play the A major scale over this whole thing. Whole, half, whole, half. So it's pretty cool to know that everything here is based on this scale, this A major scale. I took the B, the second note, E, the 5th note, A, the 1st note, and I built a chord off of each one. The 2 is a minor chord, the 5 is a major chord, and the 1 is the major chord, an A. So if I know the A major scale, like this, I know that this is an A major, because this sounds right. You know, pretty cool, right? Play it all over the place. I'm just playing, you know, randomly the A major scale. Messing up all over the place here. All hell's breaking loose. I can't stop it. Oh, because it's my backing track, not my looper. That's why. Anyway, we went off the rails today. We went long today too. And song lessons we have. Oh, a couple questions here I didn't check out. Some guy. Thank you so much for asking. Do you give Zoom lessons, JC? I don't really do that. You know, I've done it a handful of times. I don't really particularly, God, I can't even talk today. Particularly love doing it. But I do. If someone's really interested in it, you know, I'm totally up for it. You know, email me, info@Cherry. We could figure something out. But I've only done a handful in my life. It's not something that I really set out to do. I like doing this. But yeah, you know, I've done them before. Every now and then I'll do it. So yeah, say hello, info@Cherry. We could talk about that. And are those compensated saddles? I've heard of that, but what does that even mean, compensated saddles? Compensated for what? Maybe because there's only, if you want to take a closer look at it, the saddles right here. The only thing I feel that's a little bit weird about these saddles as opposed to my other guitars is that there's only one saddle per 2 strings. So if you wanted to, if you raise, you know, the intonation, if you pull back or go forward, it's really intonating 2 strings, which is a kind of a weird thing. You really don't want that, but that's the way they did it for these. Like on most guitars, there's 6 of them. So the intonation would be individually. So if you did that, if you adjusted the intonation, it would only go for per string here. And if I was to raise the action on this, this is really raising the action on, I mean, it's affecting the other string. So because there's 2 strings on one saddle, whatever you do for one string is going to, you know, alter the other one a little bit. So is that what you mean by compensated saddles? I don't know. Probably not. But that's all I really know about these saddles. Mr. What is it? Corn Bluff? 1? Is it an RN? There is a Corn Bluff. Corn Bluff. Can't really see. My eyes are going on me in my old age. So we had some fun today. Thanks for hanging out with me here on a Sunday. It's the sun is actually peeking out a little bit, which is very rare because it's been raining every day here in New York and Brooklyn for like a week, it seems. So I'm going to go out and maybe enjoy a little bit of this sunshine while we have it here on this Sunday. I think we talked about stuff. You know, I do have a guitar course I can just talk about really quick. You know, it's called the Essential Skills Collection for Guitar, where I talk about 4 topics. I talk about fretboard memorization, where you could just easily learn where all the notes are. What else do I talk about? The circle of fifths, which is very similar to this, the diatonic chords of a key, except you're looking at it in a circle. You don't need to know like the circle of fifths really, because really what we're talking about today is the circle of fifths. Only you're just kind of knowing it in your brain. You're seeing it more vertically than if you were in a spirally circle of fifths. But essentially that's all the circle of fifths is what we learned today, but in a circle. Same thing. So it's really good to just understand it in your mind so you're not even thinking about it vertically or circularly. And then I go through blues soloing, and then I have a section on well, the blues soloing is cool because you get all these backing tracks and all these ideas as far as blues playing goes, and which is theory, but it's all heart, you know. In the blues, it's just like you just got to feel it, you know. Number one thing, blues easy to play, hard to feel, right, Dana? And then lastly, there's a part on the C.A.G.E.D system in there, which is really cool to understand how that works. So check that out in the description. The Essential Skills Collection for Guitar. Thank you guys for hanging out with me here. Dana, so cool of you to pop in, and Con Bluff, or is that an R? I can't even see if it's an RN or is that an M. I think it's an M. Con Bluff. Some guys, and Finney and Jeffrey Boyle. Man, you guys are awesome, and I can't really pronounce your name. It sounds looks. Where are you from? With those symbols in there, is that a Ruea? Okay, that's pretty cool. Thank you for popping in, and some guy, Finney, Jeffrey Boyle. Thank you, Christopher Eaton, Jared Devil, Christopher, Walter. I mean, goes on and on, but thank you so much for hanging out with me. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you want any of these backing tracks or graphs that I prepared here, email me at info@Cherry. But besides that, James Y. What you got there, a banjo? Yeah, is that like, what is that? What is it? What is it? Or is it a, how is that? What is it? Yankee Doodle Dandy? I don't know, but I'm starting to get a little scared here. Memories of Deliverance popping up on me now, right? But yeah, it is a banjo. I'm a banjo plucker. Thank you guys for hanging out. Remember, be cool, be kind, and be cherry. And I'll see you in the next video. If you want to see another video similar to this, based on the 7 chords of the diatonic key, I'll put that right up there. Until next time, I'll see you then. Love y'all. It's been a real blast. Enjoy your Sunday, and I'll see you next time. Peace, y'all.